Hey, what up, Reg? How's it going?
Cool. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Just staying on the grind.
Nothing wrong with that. Keep it up.
All right. So welcome back, man. Appreciate you sitting down with me again.
No problem. I've been
So,
watching your interviews. Good job. You've been keeping up the grind. So cool. I'm really enjoying that Danny Boy segments you put out. So what's up, Danny Boy? Appreciate you.
Yeah. He did some. He told some nice, good stories.
Yeah.
Death row stories. I was gonna start more from the beginning. Some topics we didn't cover. When Suge first started Death Row, he mostly had Bloods doing security, but at one point he brought you in. What happened that Suge brought you guys in also?
Well, yeah, he had a bunch of different sets of Pyrus from the Compton area, from not just the mob. That's what the misconception of they were just all mob Pyro dudes. Yeah, got some looters, Elm Lane, Fruitown, West Side Pyro. Big Jake was from Campanella. So you had Pyrus from all different sets at one time of Compton. But how law enforcement, or he brought me in, is he had a couple of incidents. First one, they had an album release party for Snoop, where in the Marina City Club, or in the city of Marina Del Rey, and they rented and chartered a boat out for Snoop album release party. They took the boat out, but they had the Muslims, the FOIs, hired as security, and they had a big old fight on that boat, and they had to bring the boat in and dock it and stuff. And Suge just felt like the FOIs didn't do a good job of doing the security and the planning of security for that event, where they might have could have de-escalated the problem where he had all that money he spent for this big album release party, where the Bloods and the Crips got to fighting on the boat and cost them all that money, because they wasn't able to enjoy or have the party as long as they would like. So that was the one incident. And then you had the incident that I done told, most of the people done heard about, where Miles James, who recently admitted on his Vlad interview, and I had heard, well, actually my father had heard, that George Williams, G, they and some of the other guys were planning on kidnapping Suge and holding him hostage to get a big payday. And they were talking about that. And that intel had gotten back to the fam, to Pops, who was the lead investigator in the city of Compton Police Department. He knew Suge and I had a relationship, had played high school football together, and have been knowing each other since childhood. And he told me to reach out, get in contact with Suge. And reached out, got to contact with Suge, set up a meeting. They met, and Pop explained to him, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I heard. Suge, being the G that he was, he said, hey, I ain't tripping. I wish those niggas would try it. I got something for them if they do. But that's why you guys need to be over there watching my back anyway. Pops was like, no, that ain't happening with me, because most of the guys that's working for you, I'm trying to institutionalize their asses on some open cases right now. And he said, but me, I was 27, 28 years of age, young, and seeing what they had going on, and the atmosphere that, when I'm saying atmospheres, I'm talking about the women, going around the video shoots and partying and all of that. As a 27, 28-year-old guy, it kind of intrigued me. I was like, whoa, this might be something I'd like to be around. More of a groupie, I guess.
Party,
and make some money.
You can get paid and party at the same time.
And so I was like, yeah, I'm interested. But Pop said, well, you ain't ready, But I got a guy that owns a security company that's a lieutenant that talking to Suge, because his sister and the guy, Danny Sneed's wife, were like best friends. And he said, I'll recommend and talk to Danny Sneed about it. And then, you all guys can put something together and start working for doing special events, security, like parties, album release parties and stuff like that for the record company.
Oh, okay, okay. Did they keep work? Did Suge know who was gonna do it? They kept working for him.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, he heard some names, and one of the guys, Rock Chisholm, he copped out and said he heard it. Not that he was involved in it, but that they had told him to step back. You're too close, to push back. And he admitted it. Yeah, he said, yeah, we heard it, but ain't nobody taking that bullshit serious. Ain't nothing happening to you, homie. Don't worry about that. So it was like brushed off, but that's something that you store in the back of your head.
Yeah, the people were even talking about it How many different cops did you have working for you?
Oh man, I probably had from 30 to 35 at one point. Not
all security for death row,
or just one point,
or just coming. Oh, okay.
At one point, I mean, in the height of everything, it was probably about 25 to 30 guys in Vegas when that incident happened, but not on a daily basis. I probably had 5 to 6 post assignments, where all those 25 to 30 guys rotated that particular post. But it was probably a assignment, like Snoop would have 2 on him. Pac had 1. Dre had 1. The studio had 2. The office had 1. 1. Suge may have 1, or a driver with him. Stuff like that. David Kenner may have 1 if he had a deposition or something going on. Now, you have big parties, like the album release party for Murder Was the Case. You go and secure the Vineyard, when you probably had 25 to 30 guys working on that particular day, but that would just be like a one-night assignment. So I would say about 6 guys on a daily basis, 6 to 8 guys on a daily basis, and 25 to 30 whenever you had a party or a video shoot or something like that.
So you guys had all that plus the Pyrus.
Plus the homies.
Yeah, around.
The homies had little jobs too. About 4 of them was always with you, wherever they roll. And then you had 1 that was still assigned to be up at the studio. You had 1 or 2 that was assigned to be at a death row office during the daytime and stuff like that. So yeah, you had about 6 to 8 of them that had different assignments and duties.
What was your favorite Red Room story?
Red Room story? I have no Red Room stories. Other than seeing Pac probably about to get down with Faith Evans in that room. But
okay.
Other than that, those are a lot of myths that it was something going on with the Red Room or now if we talking about Suge office, that's a different. The Red Room is a little room where people try to say or assaults or something like that went down.
You had mentioned that Nate Dogg was quick to pull a gun on music people.
I only know one incident where me and him both had to pull out some guns on some dudes. It was just me and him. It was actually after a Mary J. Blige concert. And somehow I got stuck with him. I don't know if I didn't have a security guard or whatever, but we all went to Mary J. Blige concert. And he was fucking with one of Mary J. dancers. And so Suge was like, Reg, go, just hang with Nate Dogg tonight. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Because Suge didn't want to go to the after party or whatever. We go there, and some of those Venice Shoreline dudes was there. That's who Snoop had got into it when he had, shot one of those dudes. And they were tripping on Nate.
These were the dudes from when his bodyguard killed somebody.
Correct. Not Nate Dogg, Snoop Dogg.
So yeah, right. Snoop Dogg's bodyguard.
Yeah.
And those were the dudes from the same hood.
Yeah. And so they were tripping on Nate, trying to get at Nate. Shit. They got to his trunk on his Lexus, and by that time, because he had a little SC400 Lexus, a green one. He had a blue. I think it was navy blue. He got to that trunk, and I had my shit, and we was like, niggas, what? What? But so that was Nate with that incident. But Nate, around the industry with the dudes that was in the music business, you didn't fuck with Nate, Trey D, Big C Style. Those 3, that G car was cool. Okay. For a Long Beach Crip, dude. Plus, you got to remember Nate was a Marine. He was in the Marine Corps at one time.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
So how many years did he do in the
I don't
Marines?
know that. I think he had.
Oh, so he was trained though.
Yeah.
So I interviewed Spider Loc a while back, and he had mentioned that a common question people would always ask is like, would you fuck with Suge Knight? Because he had the reputation.
Out, and I remember the hot news on the actual news on television was Suge Knight is going to be released from prison soon. And I can remember telling people, when he get out, I'm going to make sure I meet him in 30 days. When that nigga Suge get out, I'm going to make sure I meet him in 30 days. Because I remember it was a common question at that time for people just to ask you, hey, would you fuck with Suge? And I knew it was technically the wrong answer, but I used to always say, hell yeah. Even though you would be like, man, that's Suge Knight, and everything you would see from afar, that's just that's the way I face everything in my life, So it's like, hell yeah, I do it, fuck it. So.
Were there any situations that like the death row reputation ever stopped any business from happening?
Not knowingly, I'm sure it did. I'm sure some people didn't want any dealings with that, or especially when Suge went into custody, it was easy. That was an easy draw. But prior to that, I'm sure it was, but we don't know of any. Suge didn't need anybody. He had one of the biggest machines in the business, Jimmy Iovine.
Right.
They were hitting home runs. Jimmy was his guy. He eventually became Dre guy, and who eventually was Eminem and 50 Cent guy. Fergie. So many people that's up under Jimmy. But Jimmy, Suge saved Jimmy. Their company was about to be bankruptcy until he brought the Chronic over there. The only thing they had at that was Marky Mark. They didn't even have Tupac yet. Well, they were living off Marky Mark, that close to going bankruptcy. But Chronic saved them. But, Jimmy kept building and building and building, and they both looked out for each other.
At one point, Puffy and Suge were cool. What was that like?
Well, they were cool. They were, what it was like, they used to talk, and it's really started when Puffy was just like a worker for Andre Herrera, which was running Uptown Records. And Puffy was like Mary J. Blige, when they had just did the 411 album, and Jodeci's, guy, producer or whatever, or, helping out. Devontae did all the Jodeci stuff. But he was like the intern, the music, or the A&R probably, for Andre Herrera at Uptown Music. He eventually took and branched out and took Craig Mack to Arista, where Clyde Davis ended up giving him a deal for Craig Mack, but he, not knowing that Biggie was going to, ultimately become his biggest star. But that's how that breakup happened. But Puffy was cool at Uptown. Suge was managing and had a relationship with Andre Herrera, and because of the, managing Mary J. and Jodeci. And so that's where that relationship come from. And Puffy, was in your face, seemed like a genuinely cool dude. I just think the image that he portrays is something like Snoop, or just a fake ass nigga behind scenes.
Puffy asked Suge for some advice about the feds.
Yeah, like I said, they done had plenty of meetings. I know of an incident where we went up to Bad Boys Records. One time we was on the way to the airport, and Puffy called Suge and was like, "Hey man, can you come by my office? I need to holler at you about something. It's real important." And so we canceled our flight because I think we was on our way to we was either going to Pittsburgh to see Sam Snead or North Carolina to hang out with Casey and JoJo. I remember it was just a little short flight because we eventually just rebooked it and caught another flight later on. But we went up to the office, and Puffy was like, "Man, Suge, how you got the feds off of you, man? They follow me like crazy. They on my ass." And, Suge gave him some drama, told him something. It probably didn't make no sense, and there wasn't any truth to it. And he was like, "Yeah, man, whatever, I need to do it because they on my ass." And so had a mutual, relationship and respect like that. Then, December of '95, there was a fight, and we have Club 662 going at that time. And Suge, Biggie was hot, '95. I mean, he was like hot. And it wasn't even December of '95 because Pac was around October '95. So it had to have been sometime like early '95, early part of '95. March maybe '95, something like that. There was a Tyson fight. And we was having Club 662 open, because that's the only time Club 662 open, was doing Tyson fight nights, that Friday and that Saturday night. And so Suge was like, hey, Puff, Biggie, can you get Biggie coming to perform at the club? And Puff was like, yeah, well, I want the door or something like that. And Suge was like, the door, shit, this is my club. I only open it, a couple of nights a week. I mean, a couple of nights a year, really. And man, I'll give you a fee. I mean, I'll get y'all some rooms and look out for y'all, but we boys, And Puffy, kind of wanted, he wanted to. So he was like, oh, fuck that. I'll get the Dog Pound or somebody to perform. Because you got to remember, Pac wasn't with us yet. So he had a bad taste in his mouth about that. Like fuck Puffy or something like that. By that time, I think he was messing around with Misa, Puffy baby mama and stuff like that. And so, he was doing some creepy shit then. Sometime in '95. And so Mary J, though, and Misa was real tight. And so Mary J and Misa was real tight. So they used to always hang around the Mary J and KC and them. They were, Jodeci or, KC and definitely JoJo was always around us. We went to New York or when they came to LA.
And KC at that time was being with Mary J.
Mary J and KC was together. And not only were they together, they had a baby. Well, no, they didn't have a baby, but they were together.
Right.
And so, so she was always around. And so, she was coming around and Suge somehow,
How did they meet? Is that how they met?
Oh, yeah. Mary J, just coming around, and Mary J made the introduction. This was before the Source Awards.
Okay. And Puffy already had a baby by her.
He already had a baby. I think it was Justin, the son Justin. One time we went out to New York for something, and her and the son flew back with us to L.A., and she was staying out there with us in L.A. for a bit, and then Puffy mama actually called. It was just like, hey, Puffy's out here tripping. Matter of fact, I think he split his wrist behind it, tried to commit suicide. They say he split his wrist doing something else, but the rumor that we always got, and what Missy always told us, is this nigga out here, this bitch ass nigga tried to kill himself. And so that's when then Pac, once he, Pac reached out to him sometime in like maybe August or July of '95. So at that point, now Pac telling him how, man, if I sign your label, I'm going to destroy Bad Boys Records and Biggie and
So he's
Puffy.
saying this in jail?
In jail. He had this mindset in prison that, because I'm hearing shit in here. Well, these motherfuckers had something to do with while I got shot. Them motherfuckers set me up. This is Pac mentality from what he's hearing inside of the walls. And he's pissed. And so he told Suge before he came home, this is what I'm about. And this is how I'm gonna get down. Once Pac was telling Suge that he's coming home, he's riding on Bad Boy, he's gonna destroy them as a record label and their crew, he was like, so if you want me still to sign with you, let's make this happen. So Suge's statement at the Source Awards, see, most people don't know, we had just got confirmation that the pill bond was gonna work, and they were starting the legal process of getting Pac released on the appeal bond. And this is like August 3rd or something of 1995. Pac didn't end up getting out until like October of '95. But y'all know how slow the justice system works. Right. And so it was taking this long for the appeal bond and everything to work out. But Pac and Suge had pretty much agreed in principle that he's gonna be with Death Row. That's why Suge went and had a poster, a big old cardboard poster of Pac, a picture of Pac that he placed in the cell on the video. When he was letting everybody know that Pac is on death row now. And that's why he made the statement starting to diss Bad Boy Records at the Source Awards, because he was starting to show Pac how he had his back with the war against Bad Boy Records.
It seemed like Tupac and Death Row, it was like a match made in heaven. You know what I'm saying?
It was.
Like it was like, you know, you had the biggest gangster label, and then you had Pac, he was, you know, had controversy after controversy. How did they end up linking up?
Well, they ended up linking up because Pac needed some assistance while he was in custody in prison, and nobody wanted to fuck with him. Y'all can say Madonna was. She was coming up there seeing him and all of that. Madonna had $1.5 million. She could have posted it for him to get out of prison if she wanted to. Did she? No. So that's why they linked up. It was a business decision on both of them part. But people think it was bad and all bad because old white men decided there was some money to be made off of this and started bad-mouthing Suge and Death Row, talking about he was owed money and he was going to leave and all of that. No evidence, nothing to the truth about any of that.
Oh, Tupac wanted to leave?
That. Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to quite a few people, and they've all said that Tupac loved being on Death Row. There was a lot of rumors about Tupac wanting to leave Death Row. Did you ever see anything like that?
For what? I don't understand that. For what? I mean, let's go back. Pac ain't had no money before he came to Death Row. If he did, he would have got his own ass out of jail. Sorry. So I think that he appreciated what Suge did for him. Nobody else was reaching for Pac. All them rich ass friends that did all those videos and we love them and da-da-da-da-da, kisses to you, but none of you motherfuckers went and got him. I mean, the bail was high, but $1.5 million is not high for rich people. The only person that went and believed in him, that put the money, their money, it wasn't Pac money. Pac hadn't sold any records, was Suge Knight. And I'm sure it was an investment. But at that time, it was an empty investment because Pac hadn't recorded anything, and Suge was the only person to believe in him. Interscope and those other people had given up on him. And for Suge to take his money and to go get him and turn him into the superstar that he became. His jewelry changed. He went from wearing flea market machine gun rings that was connected to one finger to diamonds all over his fucking body. Look at the videos, look at the things. What is he leaving for? Suge was getting them and giving them. Suge was perfect at spoiling you. No other CEO was taking care of their artists like Suge was. You didn't have to have out a record to drive a Benz.
There's video evidence out there. I mean, he had to be the best actor in the world, and Snake. 5 days before he died, he was over there praising Death Row East and how they about to start this new company on Death Row on the East Coast called Death Row East.
Right.
It's footage. It's out of his own mouth proclaiming that. But now you got all these people that we never even heard of. They wouldn't even be involved in this business like that, making statements that Pac was unhappy. Pac wanted to leave. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Both sides like to take credit for putting up the money to get Tupac out of jail, Interscope and Death Row. What actually happened with all that?
Well, Interscope cut the check. However, Death Row was responsible for the money. And it was billed back, it was recouped out of whatever their deal was. And so we had to pay their money back. And so I'm sure the money was paid back or was taken from something.
Probably Tupac, right?
Well, no.
Eventually.
Eventually, but Tupac, you know, they had other monies coming in. They had the Dogg Pound album out. They had, you know, money still owed from the Chronic and Doggy Style and Above the Rim and Murder Was the Case. They had all type of money coming, but Tupac, all the money that was eventually made from Tupac, his first accounting wasn't due until 180 days from February the 13th, 1996. So what's that, September? the 13th or August the 13th.
Something like
whatever
that.
6 months is.
What's that mean as first accounting?
In your contracts, in your contracts from your album, the company does not do a royalty statement, or you're not due a royalty statement until 180 days from the time your album is released. And let's say Tupac had the greatest deal, $1 a CD, which is a great deal. Most people don't know. They think it's make so much money. Let's say Tupac was making $2 a CD, right? If he had the best deal, which all Death Row did was took the contract and took the assignment that Interscope had already had. So it was only like an 18-20% contract with some bumps if it sold a lot of records. So let's say, for sake of argument, he was to make 25%, or 25 points is what they call it. Most record companies, most artists only get 18%, 18 points off of the album. But that's for the sake of argument, 22% points. He shipped 560,000 records first week. Probably from that time period, Pac probably sold, let's say 2 million records. We know it eventually got up to 10 million, but I'm talking about up until September. Let's say he sold 2 million records. That's a double CD, so that's 4 million records. At $2 a record, Pac was only due $8 million from the royalties from Death Row for that album. Look what all Pac had within that time period. That's why it's always funny to me how people say, he was owed this money, Suge cheated him out of this money. $8 million is what was owed to Pac at that time. If he had the best deal in the world, you know. Let's do the math on that. You got studio time you got to pay for. All those songs y'all see that then leaked out and is out there, he did on there for only 11 months. You got to pay for that. You got to pay side artists. People always think, well, why Pac was paying for Nate Dogg child support? It was built that because Nate Dogg appeared on 2 songs on Pac album. So you got to pay side artists. You have to pay the producers. You got to pay for the studio time. You got to pay for security. You got to pay for when you was in a limo. He bought a house during that time period in Calabasas. He was living in a penthouse on Wilshire. That was about $10,000 to $12,000 a month. He had a Rolls Royce. He had a 500 SL. He had a Jaguar. He had a Hummer. All of this stuff was bought on Death Row money. He had the outlaws out here living out here who was getting taken care of. He was getting $10,000 pocket cash money a week to walk around with. He stayed in the Peninsula Hotel in a suite at $5,000 a day rate for 2 to 3 months. Come on, y'all. I'm not saying that he didn't eventually Death Row didn't eventually make the money off of him, but he was in an unrecoupment status from the first 180 days of his record deal.
Right.
So I just said that to respond to you. Said, oh, he probably paid for it. Probably eventually did. I don't know what somebody got the money back, because once he passed away, the money you put up is just promise that you're going to return back to court. If you're no longer with us, you don't have to return back to the court. So who got that money? You know, did that go back to the state? Did that go back to Death Row? I don't know. I know Death Row didn't get it. During my tour, you know, the time I was running it, and I was running it from 97 of, not 97, 97 of July until about 2002. I know no check for $1.5 million came back from New York State, you know, on behalf of Tupac Shakur.
Oh, right.
So.
Okay, so you guys just put up the whole cash.
Yeah.
You guys didn't like put 10% up
Oh,
or anything.
no. No, you got to put up the money. It's not no appeal bond. No, you got to put up $1.5 million cash. And that was the issue. People to come up with $1.5 million. That's why, you know, Pac didn't have it.
Shit, looking back, it seemed like a no-brainer. All the money
I
he
gotta
was going to
remember.
generate.
Yeah, but 95 was different times. $1 million was $1 million. Put y'all in contents of what $1 million was then. Magic Johnson had what we thought was the greatest contract of all times. You remember that $25 million deal for 25 million years?
Yeah.
We thought that was like, oh, God, dog. These motherfuckers now making, 30, 40, 45 million a year. A year. $1 million is a lot different than what y'all know, so that's why it don't seem like that much, because $1 million was a lot of money back in the 90s.
Yeah, it was. The Source Awards happened in August of 95. You were there, right?
Yeah.
Can you take me through that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was, New York at the Madison Square Gardens, a portion of that arena, because, we didn't have the whole thing, they couldn't fill up the whole thing, but they blocked it off and stuff like that. And a lot of New York rappers and stuff like that. It was a lot of, West Coast rappers that was out there. MC8 was there. I remember the Loonies was there. Of course, all the Death Row was there. And, of course, the Wu-Tang Clan was out there. They were hot. Bad Boys was hot at the time. Outkast was hot, so, you had pretty much, it was like a soul, not modern day, but a Soul Train 95. The Source Awards and the Soul Train Awards were the awards. It's like BET Awards now.
Right.
But on even a lower class, because these niggas be dressing up now for BET Awards like they do for the Grammys and the American Music Awards. The Source Awards was ghetto. Let's put it that way. It was a ghetto award show. But it was popping. You wanted to be there.
A lot of how were the New York rappers after Suge went up there?
Like I always said, some was, like, what did he just say? What's this about? Because, Death Row was welcome out there by the artists, not by the fucking PDs. Because you go to New York, you didn't hear no West Coast music playing on the radio. Most people don't know the PDs is what control, they call program directors. They're the one that control what goes on the radio, not the DJs, not Big Boy or whoever that, Ricky Smiley or whoever that hot DJ in y'all town is. They don't get to decide what gets played. The program directors is who decide what gets played. And we didn't get no love by any of the PDs on the East Coast. But, most people, they were cool. They loved us other than that. That's why Snoop was so like, y'all don't love Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. Y'all don't love, because he was like shocked because they used to give him love. But now they mad, so they booing. Boo, after Suge had just made that statement. They mad. But I think once Snoop talked to him, they eventually were like, okay, that was just that crazy nigga Suge talking shit. Not understanding it was just he was trying to start a beef riding for Pac with not the East Coast, which Hollywood was taken or perceived, with that motherfucking Puffy Combs.
Right.
Unfortunately, we wasn't smart enough to explain that. It took Eric B. and this dude named Big D to even tell Pac, you making it seem like you mad at the whole East Coast. That's why Pac was going to do the One Nation album and the Death Row East. Like, no, I ain't got a problem with the East Coast. It's got a problem with certain motherfuckers. And that's when they were like, okay, well then you need to say who those certain motherfuckers are. You need to call out names. And that's why it hit them up. Pac called out names. And those are the only people he had problems with. He didn't have problems with Redman and Method Man or Ras, from the Wu-Tang Clan. He had a little problems with LL, but that was just behind a bitch. They was just mad at each other behind Kadada Jones.
What happened with that? You ran into him at a Laker game?
Yeah, we bumped into LL but Pac didn't speak to him.
LL was trying to get his attention?
Trying to get his attention, trying to holler at him, like, Pac. And Pac just kept ignoring him.
No way.
So, you never know what Pac was being told by Kadada or what he was feeling. Maybe Pac tried to get with Kadada before he felt LL did. Because, Kadada was LL girl for for a minute.
Ah. Oh, okay. So at the Source Awards, you guys already knew Pac was coming.
We did.
You guys, but nobody else did.
Yeah, we did. Meaning, I don't know who all Suge told. I'm sure Dre knew, but
Oh, okay.
I
Right,
did.
right.
I was on the plane. I was there. Danny Boy, he made it seem like he went every time, but I don't remember that. I only remember him, being in the car with us a couple of times. But I'm sure Danny knew. Danny was close, Suge. He treated him like his son at the time. He treated him like his little young son. I think they were even talking about some adoptions or something at one point. Yeah.
And then after the award show, at the tunnel,
Yeah.
They
We
bumped-
went to
they
the
bumped
tunnel.
into each other.
And that was probably a plan attack. That was the after party spot. And so we all went there. Puffy and his crew walked over to Suge like, hey, man, what's going on? Thought we were boys. What's this about? And so, they were talking. It was an intense talk, but they all walked away. It wasn't like nobody threw no blows or anything, but they had an intense talk. Then they talked. And so, I can't tell you what Suge told him. I was worried about checking out niggas. I wasn't really worried about their conversation. So, but it was intense.
So at this point, things are kind of getting a little bit serious between Death Row and Bad Boy, and then Jake gets killed
Yeah.
in
Big
Atlanta.
Jake. Yeah, Big Jake. That probably happened in October of '95?
Right before Tupac got released, I think.
Sometime in October of '95.
And he blamed Puffy. I mean, not directly like he did it.
Yeah, the way the story goes is Suge and Big Jake were hollering at some females. It's supposed to have been one of Puffy boys or one of his guys, girl or something like that. And they got into a little tussle or a little, scrimmage inside the club where the security made one side leave, meaning probably Puffy and his guy, or whoever the guy was, to leave. It's the worst thing you can do as when you go to a club. You ever get into a fight or an argument with somebody, and that person leave and go outside? Get your ass on. You go outside too and go and get in your car and get out of there. Because he's going to go get in his car, get his shit, and post up.
Yeah.
Well, Suge loves to party. Suge never know when to go home. I mean, I done literally been in clubs and inside of clubs with Suge where they were posting up the fucking chairs and we still sitting around. Suge don't know where to leave. I'm not saying that's what happened at the time because I don't know, but I know the one side of the fight left, went to the cars, and obviously got gunned up. As Suge and them getting in the limo, they walk over and pop him. And Big Jake, died from that.
Damn. How did that affect Death Row?
Well, we started questioning a lot of things. Number one, I missed the plane.
You were supposed to be there?
I was supposed to be in there. Missed the plane, but I called him and told him to get on. He was like, oh, no, we cool. We just going to the Jermaine Dupri party. We good. Because, they left like 6 that morning. I got the call like 4:35 o'clock a.m. Hey, you got a 6 o'clock flight to, huh? I can't get there that early, but I'll try. And I swear, I remember going and seeing the doors shut,
Oh,
of the
shit.
planes back then. And that always bothered me because I always figured time would have changed or maybe we would have been somewhere else or, I'm not one of I believe destiny somehow could have been changed, where we might have, me being late for something might have had us put somewhere else or, we wouldn't have been in that position or I would have been smart enough to see the guy coming. Who knows?
Right.
But it could have been me instead of Big Jake that got killed. Who knows? God could have intervened for me and my
Could have
family.
been like, yo, they gonna go to their car.
Yeah.
We need to get out of here.
Oh, I already knew that rule. I already knew that rule. Once that person leave, we gotta go, or there's leading motherfuckers in the club where we can watch them. Don't just kick one side of the fight out.
So in October of '95, Tupac is released from jail, and he comes in and he just gets to work. And were you around when Dre and Pac recorded California Love?
I don't know what songs they were working on. I wasn't one of those type of security guys because I was just security at the time. And I wasn't nobody's security. I just hired guys and placed guys. I was nobody. I never did bodyguard work or anything like that. I was the guy that hired the guys to do it and, tell people I was the management because I was the owner and the manager. But I didn't go back in the studios when they were doing stuff. I was nothing. But Dre had already had California Love done. Pac just got taken off. I mean, Dre just took the verses off that Pac got on, and Pac just added to those.
So this was supposed to be Dre's
Solo
song. So he was planning on releasing another album under Death Row.
Yeah. Dre was always working on stuff. Dre probably got 2,000 songs in the vault right now. We done heard about Detox supposed to came out. We done heard about so many stuff. And Dre always in the studio. Every time he take a picture or post something, he's in the studio. And we don't hear of him releasing anything as far as a beat. Dre just love the studio. Dre got so much songs, but Dre is so meticulous where he probably just like.
Was he mad that Tupac got the California Love song?
It was Jay's still happy. Dre's still a part of Death Row, 50% owner. So he knew he had a hit. He knew he had a hit because Ryder Just Robin was on there, on the California. He knew he had a hit. It took Suge did some talking, like, hey man, let Pac get on that song. It took some talking, but he ultimately, allowed Tupac to get on the song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember in the interview, Tupac was like, Dre, you got to give me that. You got to give me that.
Yeah, because they were trying to make.
I'm fresh out. I'm home.
Yeah, they were trying to make Dre happy. I mean, Dre was trying to make Pac happy. Everybody, it was a happy environment. It didn't get messy until, Dre didn't want to show up to court for Snoop to support him. And Pac, as we know, is a loyal motherfucker.
Dre didn't go to any of them?
Not a day to support him. What happened in that matter was the witness kept saying Dr. Dre. It was the guy, Dr. Dre, that was the shooter. Dr. Dre. And so David Kenner being a lawyer, lawyers like to play games. He's like, hey, Suge, we need Dre to come to court so I can just put him on the stand and asked him, who is he? And so when he say Dr. Dre, everybody gonna be like, discredit everything this witness saying because he was mixing up Dre with Snoop. He was, he knew the name. Okay. He thought Snoop's name was Dr. Dre. And so they were trying to play some game, and Dre didn't want no part of it. By this time, he got his own attorneys, Howard King and them and Peter. And all of them they was like, hey, don't be a part of none of that. You don't need to be part of none of that. And Dre was like, because Dre is a different type of dude. Dre is a humble, mild dude, not for all of that drama. Especially, when he was doing better. He had stopped drinking. He had stopped, doing certain things. So he was trying to be a different person. And he didn't want any part of it. And not only did he not come in support of Snoop, he wouldn't come to, to play this game or whatever, that the attorneys want him to do.
So he wouldn't even help in any way.
And so Pac heard about this, and Pac was like, oh, this is a disloyal motherfucker. I don't want to be around him. I don't want to fuck with him. He ain't no good if he can't help his brother in need.
Yeah. December 95, you guys are in New York. Were you there when they did the New York video?
No. My security was there, but I wasn't there personally.
Was Tupac there?
No.
No? Okay.
Suge wasn't either.
Suge wasn't out there either?
This is a Dogg Pound thing. Trady, Frank Alexander, the security was there. Forget what other security was there. But I had, probably 3 or 4 other security guards there. And mainly it was this Dogg Pound there. And the production crew, DJ Pooh and his production staff, because his video team was the one that did the video, shot the video.
Okay. Well, Biggie hears that they're in town, and he goes on the radio, and blasts them, and calls out some names, and the trailer ends up getting shot up. And
Pop shots. Shot up me. Pew! It was pop, pop.
a couple shots from far away.
And from far away, from a distance, like sniper shots.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it could have killed somebody, but shot up and pop shots are 2 different things, in my opinion.
Okay. And Corrupt said that their intention for the song wasn't to disrespect New York, that they were actually paying homage, and that they didn't shoot the kicking over the buildings until they got back to L.A.
Palmdale, California, they went out there and did that in some studio stuff. Oh, that's done in the studios. That's when they mad. They had planned to have a big old party scene, dance scene in Red Rock, something like that, an area, I guess like Times Square or something that's out there. I don't know much about New York, but I guess they were out there, even though I'm wearing a black Yankees jersey, but I don't know much about New York. But anyway, so that was the intent, but yeah.
What was the environment like when all that was going on? Was anybody saying anything?
Well, Pac took major offense to it. And that's why the whole buildup, that's why people don't understand, why Pac was mad at Snoop for saying this. It's all of this. So he feeling like, now because I'm with y'all, because this happened in December of 95. Pac had just been home since October of 95. So you got to remember, he didn't feel like Biggie and them had something to do with me getting shot at a studio. So now you got to be inside Pac head. Now you got to remember, he thinking, damn, I got shot in the studio by Biggie and his crew and his people. I only been over here 2 months. I've been home, came home in October. December of 95 is when this incident happened. And so now Biggie gets on the radio and incite the crowd or incite some dudes from New York, and they shooting in my artist, my co-artist or my label mates trailer, shooting at them. It's on with these motherfuckers. They really on with us. It's on. And so that's why Pac was so mad with Snoop when he did what he did in September of 96.
Is that why Tupac waited to go after them? Because he didn't really diss them on All Eyes on Me. He waited a while before he dropped Hit 'Em Up.
It was done, but he was planning on doing it, but it just didn't fit or something. It wasn't ready yet. The song wasn't all the way ready, but he was planning on doing it. I mean, he did videos off of All Eyes on Me dissing them. If you look at the beginning
of... Two of America's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
That's right. Snoop was part of that, too.
Snoop was part of that. Snoop was on the stage in July 4th of 1996 laughing and shit while Pac laughing and bragging about fucking on Faith and stuff. Snoop right there laughing, giggling.
Right.
Snoop was the type of dude that only trying to appease whoever he's in front of. That's why you got the stuff on Drink Champ with Nas, where he was trying to make Nas seem like they were about to get us in Bryant Park when we had just as many guys as they had there. Snoop just wanted to be loved by the massive. And so he preaches or say what he feels is the appropriate thing for the crowd or the audience he have at the time.
Were you around when Tupac, what did you think when you heard Hit 'Em Up?
Oh, well, our staff got 4 foes, it was I make sure my 4 make sure your kids don't grow. What you talking about? Killing people, kids. So as an ex-law enforcement, like, man, this dude talking about killing people, kids, So it was a hard song, but you know, I'm also a person that grew up listening to No Vaseline and stuff like that. So you know, Kumo D and LL going back and forth. So you know, you kind of knew that that was rap. You know, the distance stuff. You never thought it would went to the level that it eventually did.
At what point Tupac started to claim the mob? He had it tatted on him and everything. This is
Yeah.
kind of fuzzy, man, because it depends
That's
on
why
who
I'm
you
looking
ask.
like that. I believe he was starting to claim the mob. It's my opinion, just because of his music and getting the tat on his arm. But you know, it's a subject.
And
The subject is a touchy subject with most people, because everybody want to claim him. Baltimore want to claim him. New York want to claim him. Oakland want to claim him. And now us, you know, the area we grew up in, the mob want to claim him. And then Big Sight, when he was with them over there with Thug Life, he was hanging around Crips there. They want to claim him. But the only one he ever talked about in music was the mob. Only one he ever got tattooed on his body was the mob. So I'm partial towards the mob.
were you there the MTV weekend? I would believe the weekend before
Yeah.
Tupac.
Yeah, September. It happened in September the 3rd, September the 2nd of 1996.
Was that's when Snoop went on the radio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you take me through that weekend?
Well, yeah, okay. Well, you had before that weekend, you had the award show. Coolio somehow beats Snoop and California Love for fucking Gangsta Paradise won Song of the Year. Can you believe that? Gangsta
No
Paradise
way.
with Coolio. So that's what happened. But, you know, they didn't care nothing about awards and stuff like that. And so now they have a big after party at this park called Bryant Park, which is right next, kind of in the same area as Radio City Hall, where it's pretty much walking distance. So everybody, the big after party was set up real nice, and it was in Bryant Park. So we go over there, and we in there. That's when you see Pac with the Death Row East T-shirt on, and all the guys with the Death Row East signs and stuff. So we promoting Death Row East because we're on the East Coast. We in New York. After he do all of those interviews and talking to people and all of that, you'll see Nas entourage and Pac entourage see each other, and they, meet up. So now, me and Suge was still kind of off at that time. But now we seeing it because everybody like, like a big old commotion. So we get over there. Still ain't seen Snoop. That's why I always laugh when Snoop like trying to say how Nas could have clapped his hands and everybody would have been killed and all that bullshit. Snoop probably was, y'all seen how he was looking that day. He was high. Y'all think he was looking like he was suspect, but that nigga was just high, when he had the hat on and all of that in the interview with him and Pac. Pac was talking about the radios and all of that stuff. And communications, y'all could tell how Pookie, everybody was always said Snoop was looking strange on that video, but he was just high. But anyway, Snoop was nowhere around. So Pac, the big confrontation happened in the park with Nas and Pac. They worked it out like men. End up like, hey, we're gonna do some songs with each other next week. They were all good. Hey, Pac, Suge, take off that diss part that I did, Against All Odds. I'm gonna scrap that song, or I'm gonna at least take the version where I'm dissing Nas off, which y'all know we never did because what eventually happened. So all of this is like Monday, the week of before Pac got killed. Well, he got shot on the 7th. So this would have been like September the 2nd or something like that, whatever that Monday would have been. So, but then, now Pac is feeling good. I mean, he's hyped. He in New York. He got all his boys from New Jersey's with him. Fado got a crew of dudes with him. My little nigga Mutau got a crew of dudes with him. And they walking on, because, he ain't got enough room, really. That's the really, in the limo, because, his limo only had so many. And so they walking down the streets of New York. Pac was giving out money, I heard. Throwing out $100 bills to people and shit like that. It's in a good mood. Being happy. She'll tell me, hey, man, take Snoop. Snoop got to do an interview at the radio station. And so he said, make sure Snoop go there and do this interview. So I go with Snoop and them to the radio station, Angie Martinez. And he on the radio talking and asking him, so Angie Martinez, asking about the beef and what's going on, about the New York song, and he up there explaining how he loved New York and he ain't got no problems with New York and he ain't got no problems with Biggie and he ain't got no problems with Bad Boy and this and this. And Pac listening to the radio, because now he in the limo, because they were probably trying to go somewhere. I think they were going to a club or somewhere. And he hearing the radio, he hearing this shit. Going crazy. They blowing, his security calling me, telling me, Reggie, what's Snoop saying? I go to Snoop during the interview, tap Snoop on there and say, hey, Pac, mad about what you saying, how you, I guess he didn't understand, because, when you're trying to do an interview and you got a security guard, trying to tell you something. And Snoop is not a hyper type dude. Snoop is always cool and collective. He's a lightweight comedian of late, but always cool because he's always high usually, smoke a lot of weed. But Snoop shrugged it off it wasn't no big thing. So now we get back, security, Michael Moore, I think it was the security telling me, man, Pac was hitting the ceiling in the limo. I was mad. I'm the dead man now. Now all New York know we ain't family no more. We ain't together. We ain't, we don't have each other back. And he hollering that. This motherfucker disloyal. I'm gonna fuck Snoop up. I'm gonna have him rushed when we get back to LA. I'm having the Dogg Pound rush, not the Dogg Pound,
Outlaws.
the Outlaws rush him and all of that is what he hollering. Pac mad. So Snoop was like, what the fuck? Because the Dogg Pound ain't with him. He's mainly out here with us. And, he ain't got a bunch of his boys with us, and Snoop like, what the fuck? What I do? What's the problem? And he really had that look, confused, not really understanding what he had just done. You got to remember, that's when we go back. You got to remember all the things that happened. Pac got shot. Dogg Pound trailer get shot up. Suge dissed Puffy at the Source Awards. We come out there for Saturday Night Live. Big Jake. We come out there for Saturday Night Live taping. We stayed in a hotel somewhere else. Soul Train Awards had happened, even though that was in LA.
That's right.
All of this stuff had happened, and now this motherfucker talking about doing music with the enemies, or, the dudes that had something to do with me in my mind getting shot, or who I've been at war with. If I'm right or wrong, you hanging with me, I'm in your family. Now you telling me you don't mind working with them? Fuck you, nigga. This is the way Pac died, feeling about Snoop. We can all try to be a Snoop fan and a Pac fan. If you're really a Pac fan, Snoop's a bitch when Pac died. I do believe they would eventually made up. I really do believe that. But you got to remember, this is how Pac was thinking prior to his death. So anyway, that's what happened at the MTV Music Awards. And that's why Snoop wasn't in that car, or he wasn't out in Vegas when Pac and Suge was shot and Pac later died.
Right,
that reason and that reason only.
Were you on the plane when they came home?
I went on the plane. I went and made sure everybody got back, because we had a bunch of securities, but it was a private. They went out on a private plane. And I remember going back, for some reason I flew back on a commercial plane. And so no, I went on the plane, but I took them to the airport. And
Together?
Yeah, no.
Were they on the same plane together?
Yeah. It was a private plane. And that was at a different airport. Well, Snoop rode in the van with the luggage. He didn't ride in the limo with Pac and Suge and, whoever else that flew back on the private plane. You know,
And Snoop never mentioned none of this prior to
he was
that.
quiet. He was quiet. He knew he had. Like I said, I don't really think Snoop realized what he did until Pac was really going off. And maybe went, a light bulb came on. But Snoop didn't know, he didn't realize what he had did prior to that.
Wow.
They would eventually worked it out, I believe, but Pac died with that not being worked out.
So now the weekend comes around, the Tyson fight. Can you take me through that weekend?
Well, I'm already out there because I'm running about, I'm over all the, not over, but, I'm bigger than just Death Row in Suge nightlife at this time. I'm about Suge Knight entities and stuff like that. And so I was worrying about Club 662, which is, something outside of Death Row that Suge owns. And so I'm there making sure that it's going to be, and plus that's where the after party was going to be. Craig Mack was going to be performing. Tupac was going to be performing for some community service that most people don't know about. It was a boxing benefit for a retired police officer in Vegas. It was for his foundation or something like that, where Pac was getting some community service time because of the incident with the Hughes brothers, where he had to do some community service time in L.A. And so he was getting credit for that, so he wouldn't have to be working on the motherfucking freeways. Because I was like, I had to go testify before the court on that. Like, he can't be, this is a major superstar. He can't be working on the freeway. Y'all be having fucking, they were going to have him scheduled to be picking up trash on the freeway. And I had to say, come on, he can't do this. I would have traffic jams. We would have major problems if Pac would have been, if y'all would have seen Pac on the side of the freeway picking up trash. That's what they were trying to do. And so they were like, okay. So we ended up getting it worked out where David Kenner did, where, we had some events, some special things that he had to do, stuff like that. So I went up there Friday night, making sure Club 662 was on deck. Pac and Suge and them drove up that Saturday. Danny Boy, Damon Thomas, he flipped over his Viper and tore up his car. That's the producer of The Underdog that, first married Kim Kardashian and all of that. The one that did the fight song. So it was a big entourage, plus all the homies and all of that. So they drove up that Saturday. They had a big fight. I think Danny Boy mentioned it on your channel.
Stopping in, I think in Barstow, if I'm not mistaken, some young guys said something to one of the guys in a restaurant when we did a pit stop for gas. And these young guys was on a football team. And they started talking shit. And Suge homies rolled their little ass up. Like, completely rolled them up. You seen little niggas in their jerseys going over there, being thrown back there.
It was a bunch of dudes
Well,
that they beat
it was
up?
a bunch of them. Every last one of them was getting tossed around in the parking lot, scraped up. And, after that, we got back in the car and headed to Las Vegas. Didn't stop until we got here.
I don't think it was as big as he talked, how he made it seem. I didn't hear about it like that. But, they had some incidents where one of the dudes from Long Beach Poly football team or track team or something said something slick to Pac, and Pac, said something back to him or something like that. That's how I heard it. Danny Boy put like they beat him up real bad or something like that, but I never heard that. But anyway, so they had that at the In-N-Out in Barstow, California on the way out. They get there, and now it's chaotic because they got in, a little late, and Suge got his house, and everybody getting ready for the fight. And so one thing Pac was always mad about, because Suge be late everywhere. He's always late. And you remember back then, Mike Tyson fights were a minute and a half, if that. And so they will always be coming to try to get to the fight, walking in right when the big main event, and the fight will be over. So he mad. He like, I'm getting to the fight on time. He calling me, Reg, where's Suge at? Where's the tickets? What's going on? I'm tired of going to the fights late. And I'm trying to tell Suge, Suge being Suge. And so anyway, he gets mad. Pac jumps in the taxi cab, him and Frank, and goes over to MGM, which, I mean, a mile of that, from the Luxor Hotel to the MGM. Goes over there. and then so nobody really meets up, according to them, because now I'm at Club 662 until later, until after the fight, because it was one of those minute fights, 1 or 2 round fights. And then they meet up. By the time they all met up, is when Trayvon comes over and say, hey, there's Baby Lane, the dude that tried to take my chain. Try to take my chain. Everybody keep that, you got to get that cleared up. Trayvon didn't lose his chain. Even Keefe D admits that they didn't take the chain. For a minute he said they did, then he backtracked and said he didn't get the chain, which you can't believe a lot of stuff Keefe D said. But anyway, on the Vlad interview and in this book, well, I don't know what he said in this book because I didn't read this book, but Trayvon, came over there and said to his big homies, which is Neckbone, Buntry.
So he didn't tell
Suge.
Pac.
He
just said it out in the open.
Said it out in the open. Pac, now we talked about earlier in the interview, being who he being. You either ride with me or you not with me. Takes off.
Didn't say nothing to nobody.
Takes off. Ain't said nothing. And runs over there towards the guy. And started literally, hit him and he falls down. The homies doing what they supposed to do, takes off behind him. Run, and then they, stump him out. And then we know what happened later.
And you were at
Still at Club 662.
At 662.
Nobody called us. James said, he saw the Southside Crips hanging outside the club for a little while, and he called Buntry and them and told them, hey. But that's not a big alert. If he would have called me and told me, I'd be like, yeah, there's some gangsters from Atlanta. Now, in fairness, he would have said, but we ain't got a problem with no gangsters from Atlanta or this place. We got problems from Southside, Compton Crips. But he said that he told them, alerted them that they were out there. But even if he would have called me, is my point, I would have shoved it off as like, okay, yeah, no problem.
Well, did the Southside and Mob, did they have, besides being Bloods and Crips and being natural enemies, were their hoods like beefing though?
I didn't know of it, but according to James now, who, I've been doing interviews and stuff on Gangster Chronicles, y'all make sure y'all check out Gangster Chronicles, who I've been working with on a podcast with, he said that there was a little beef and some back and forth going on. When I'm saying back and forth, I mean gunplay and all of that behind the Lakewood Mall incident regarding the chain. I never heard about it, but that's what James is exposing now.
Now Tupac is shot. What do you do when you hear about it?
Oh, when I heard about it, I was at the club. Matter of fact, Buntry and Neckbone came to me. I was at the door of the club, like, where everybody at? Where they at? Because now, for the first time, I got the shit playing right in the club. Because, man, that used to be chaotic because everybody, trying to get in. But now I got the crowd, the line control right. The club is, is popping and everything is ready. Like, where they at? I'm proud, that got everything on point, because I'm there now, to make sure everything is running the way I want it to run. A bunch of like, man, Suge and them must, down the street, they just got shot. It don't look good. Like, yeah, right, Buntry. Suge tripping because I wasn't with y'all, because I wasn't at the thing. No, Reg, seriously. But now, while I'm talking to Buntry and that, I'm seeing all these cops that I got working at, outside the club, like half of them taking off, flying down the street, code 3. So now I'm like saying to myself, damn, Buntry, saying? There's something going on. So now there was this attorney that was there that was helping, making sure everything was going smooth, who was in charge of making sure it was a benefit and all of that for Pac to get his credit for his, for his community service and all of that, named George Calise. He was there. And so he was Vegas Connect. He's like, I'm like, man, I'm hearing Pac and Suge just got shot. You know, he's like, okay, he went and talked to the cops. Yeah, it's true. Let's go. They going to UMC. So me and him jump in the car and go to the hospital. So get there. About an hour or two, I get back there to talk to Suge. Suge, what's going on? Oh, man. You know, I'm not saying, but not telling me what happened, but yeah, Pac in bad shape. And yeah.
What was that week like?
Oh, that week was hell, you know, of course going back and forth. But my main thing now, I'm got to go back into security mode, making sure, because we had a candy striper at the beginning.
A what?
Well, it was really a reporter that dressed up like a candy striper to try to get up there to get pictures of Pac. Wow. Somebody smart. You know, now we really know about pictures, paparazzis and all of that. But back then, he had somebody, and she dressed up like a candy striper, tried to get in the room to get in there. She got a picture taken, but somebody got to her, one of the security guys or something got in and took the camera from her. So now I got to be like, oh, man, I got to put 24 hours security on him so he can, you know, fight for recovery. So now I put 2 guards outside the door. Nobody goes in. That's why when all these people talking about they were in there, yeah. But anyway, the only one going there is the mama. You know, of course, if the mama brings somebody in there, but it ain't like the people just going in and out of his room and all of that. Mama had to bring him in, and I was even telling the mama, like, nah, they ain't going in. Or, you know, it was pretty much they were calling me to say the mama wanted to bring so-and-so in, the mama wanted to bring so-and-so in. That's how that was going down. But, you know, it was people that was trying to make themselves feel important, you know, because it'd be hard to go, just be coming up to the hospital and just sitting around with them and all of that. And you just an artist that was on the record company or something like that. So they were making themselves feeling important by doing things like quasi some type of security hanging around and all of that. A lot of people just got caught up in trying to be around and being publicity and being supportive. Some people are about going to the hospitals. I'm not one to be going and sitting around the hospital and all of that, but that's some people mannerism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, was going around sitting around the waiting room.
Were there any death threats or anything coming through?
I didn't hear about them. I don't know what my security knew or what my security was, you know, what the nurses and stuff was telling them, but don't come calling me with that. What the fuck y'all there for? You know, that's why I got y'all on deck to make sure nothing happened to him. You know, and this man need to rest and recover while he's, you know, fighting for his life. So.
All right. This is something I've seen you address in the comments that I just thought I'd ask you about. People always like to say that Tupac would have went back to prison after the assault on Orlando.
Yeah. Stupidest thing. Yeah. If they would have known, well, yeah, he would have if he would have lived, or his injuries wouldn't have been as bad as they were, because now there was this big investigation behind it. Until Tupac got shot, they didn't even know who Orlando was. MGM security, you know, he was just like, oh, I got jumped, but he didn't even give them this information. They weren't even smart enough to get his driver's license and write off. Nobody knew who he was until they heard about it and they showed the picture of him to Compton Police Department. Brendan and Ladd is the one that said, oh, that's Orlando Anderson from Compton Southside Crips. They the one who identified him. They didn't have no information on him. So my point is, it wouldn't have been a big thing. Nobody would have thought of it. That's why they didn't get arrested that night. They would have went and picked up Snoop, Suge, Buntry. Did you see how Buntry was kicking that night? Everybody would have got picked up, you know, how he was kicking Orlando in there if it was an investigation going on at that time. All of that didn't happen until later, until after they learned the why. What I mean by the why is, why this shooting occurred. And then they put 2 and 2 together, like, oh, it's from this assault. It's why this shooting possibly occurred.
Okay.
So yeah, he wouldn't have went. Nobody would have known about it.
Do you know what happened to Tupac's jewelry?
No. The Outlaws have an interview out there. where they say Tupac at the last minute was, and I really think that's, I'm about to disrespect the Outlaws, but a way of them was starting to take, and like when your uncle or something died and everybody said, oh, Uncle Charles told me I can have this. And you go get it and you wear, Uncle Charles told me I can have this. I really think it was a way where they wanted to have something to remind themselves of Pac and start taking it. The big chain that he had, I personally myself delivered to Afeni at the W Hotel about a month or two after he died. I did. But
Was it in good condition and everything?
no, it was just like it was. And I apologized to her.
You mean it had blood on it and
It had
everything?
blood and everything on her. And I was like, and she said, no, Reggie, I'm glad you didn't do anything to it. I want to leave it just the way it is. I want to keep it just like that. What happened to it today, I don't know. But I delivered it to her about a month or two after he died.
Okay. What about his death row medallion?
Like I said, any of that stuff, I don't know.
Nobody knows.
It was at his house, at his home. We didn't, the Outlaws was there. His Aunt Gloria was there. There's people, in his family that he had stationed at the house in Calabasas.
What was the effects on death row after Tupac passed away?
Well, it's hard to say because Suge went to jail as well. So now you got the head of the snake or the head, your boss gone, and death row for all intents and purpose, the guy that make it happen, because death row was good before Tupac came. Right? So you still had Snoop,
Dogg Pound.
Dogg Pound. Even Quick was still, as a producer or whatever. So you still had artists and stuff over there. You didn't have Dre anymore, but you had people that could replace Dre. And so, but you also lost Suge. And that's what a lot of people forget. Because in fairness, each album I put out under the Death Row reign with Tupac still did the numbers. Go look at the Death Row Greatest Hits. Good numbers. Look at Until the End of Time. Good numbers. Better Days. Okay numbers. That's 3 albums right there. Still I Rise with the Outlaws. Good numbers.
Right.
So we're still doing 3 million to 5 million.
Oh, you guys were still making really good money.
Yeah.
You guys just didn't have.
Yeah.
You guys weren't breaking any new artists though.
This wasn't breaking no new artists. We tried, but people, the biggest regret that I had is once we got everything settled with the moms, I wasn't smart enough to understand that, okay, now we need to do a press release where she's saying everything's all good. I love Suge and Reggie and Death Row and all of this, and now we in business together. We about to do these things. And all the business, the financial business and all of that is taken care of, been worked out. I'm a happy woman. If I would have did that, smart enough to know to do that back then, or not stubborn enough to do that, that would have went a long way where people would have been like, okay. Because we're a forgiving society. But people roll for Pac. And when they felt and thought that Pac was being cheated and he hadn't been paid his money or his due, people turn against you. Industry, fans, and other artists.
So Suge's in jail, and this is over the alleged kick that did or didn't happen during the Orlando Anderson, and you guys are trying to get Orlando to say that he didn't kick him. You met up with Orlando. How'd all that happen?
Well, the attorneys mainly set it up. Because David Kenner in defense was like, hey, Edie Fall and them had reached out to him and said, hey, they about to file this lawsuit against, Death Row.
So Orlando was about to sue Death Row over getting jumped.
Getting jumped. He's an assault victim. Why to this day he didn't sue MGM, I don't know. That's who I would have went after. But he was supposed to sue the MGM. I don't know if he did or didn't, but he was definitely about to sue Death Row. and Tupac. And so David Kenner was like, hey, let's go meet with him and let's try to get this worked out. So that's when we went and talked to him and was like, okay, we need this to go away because Suge's in jail now. And this, in every newspaper article, every time you're on TV, they talking about this. We need Suge out. What can we do to get him out? Because as you can see, Suge was really trying to save you. He was trying to get people off you. Because that's what Suge's initial intent was, trying to get people off Orlando. Like, hey, not here. We can't be doing this here, you know, because Suge worked those clubs and knew Vegas. He knew his cameras all over that motherfucker. We can't do here. But Orlando was holding on to his leg and kept pulling on his leg. And at the end, he was like, nigga, get off me. And kicked him. And that's what, you know, Suge ended up getting violated for 9 years of probation violation.
For one little kick.
Yep.
And then, so you guys ended up, Orlando came in and testified for Suge?
Yeah, so Orlando came in, and so we convinced them and had him to agree. I think he agreed that Suge was really trying to save him and not hurt him. And he came and testified to that fact. Now, Keefy D make it seem like they got paid right there on the spot. No. It happened down the line. I think the estate ended up paying him.
They what?
The estate, the Tupac estate ended up paying him. Yeah, I forget who it was, if it was the estate or Death Row, but it all was agreed upon by Afeni's attorneys and our attorneys as well.
So this was part of the settlement,
The settlement, yeah. See, that's what everybody thinks. It was like, here's $60,000 to come and testify. No, nigga, we didn't give you $6,000 to come and testify. Gave you $6,000 to drop everything. Because if you would have sued Tupac for that assault, come on. How much would y'all ask for if Tupac assaulted y'all back then?
I know people, yeah.
Yeah. People waiting for that to happen. Hit me.
People would have been lined up. Like, stomp me out.
Yeah, stomp me out. I'll take that ass whooping for.
Yeah, it's true. Did you, when you were meeting with Orlando, did you have any idea that he was
Well, we
the
knew
one?
Southside was involved and had did it. Didn't know who the main players were, but we assumed it was Orlando. But that wasn't my call. And number two, that wasn't my job. Was really to look out for Death Row interest on Suge to get him a home. I wasn't an enforcer.
Yeah.
I wasn't, you know, the one that would be sitting in some bushes waiting on you, and that wasn't my job. That was never asked of me.
Okay. At one point, the feds raided Death Row?
They raided Death Row. They raided my house. They raided Michelet's house.
What happened with all that?
It wasn't the feds, to be honest. It was that drunk, alcoholic Russell Poole, and you know, creating shit off of basically trying to prove the investigation regarding the Biggie Small investigation, which I guess at the end he was ultimately right, who was ultimately responsible for it, but he just had the players in the middle wrong.
So did they take anything from you guys, or
You know,
do
computers. It was a car, the Impala, of Suge's Impala. Mainly with just computers and stuff, looking for records and payments and stuff like that, like he was for a minute.
Okay. Keefy D had said that Tupac dissed the Southside Crips with that from Long Beach to Rosecrans line.
Yeah, Compton Crips and Pyrus, Rosecrans Avenue. Anything on Rosecrans Avenue is where a lot of the Pyru gangs are all off. You got the Mob, Looters, Cross Atlantic, Lime Hood, Elm Lane. Well, Santana a little bit, but you know, you go past them, you got Treetop, Fruit Town. All of them are centrally located off of Rosecrans Avenue. Alondra Boulevard is all Crips. You got Atlantic Drive, you got the Murr Street Boys, you got the South, you got the Santana's, Santa Fe Mafias, Nutty Block. Once you start going on the west side, you got your farm dogs, your Acacia blocks. All of them were associated off of Alondra. So whenever you see Alondra Boulevard or the Alondras, that's usually signify bragging about Crips, and Rosecrans is usually signified bragging about Piru areas. And so that's why, and Rosecrans and Long Beach is right in the borderline of looters, mob, or Lane. And so that's why he was saying, he was, in his essence, was bragging about being associated with Piru. But I don't remember ever being confronted or saying some dudes check Pac in L.A.
I was just about to ask you about that. He said that they at the house. He had said at the House of Blues, and that he confronted him about it, and that.
Yeah, I never heard of him being confronted.
So you don't think that ever happened?
No.
No. Well, I mean, who would have been? Wouldn't he have had plenty of people with him?
That's what I said. That's why I don't believe it happened, because we would have heard about it. I mean, it wasn't like they were going to jump him or anything like that, but we would have heard about it. Somebody said, read somewhere where they said Frank Alexander mentioned it in a book somewhere about some Crips confronting him at the House of Blues or something like that. So that could be an incident he was talking about.
Huh.
But I never heard about it, so it must wasn't a big issue.
Right.
It wasn't a big thing.
Okay.
But somebody did mention that Frank wrote about it.
What do you think about the Glasses Malone song,
Glasses
Tupac
Malone.
Must Die?
I think it was a great concept and all of that. I just wish he would have titled it differently. I wish he wouldn't have called it Tupac Must Die. If it was going to be about Orlando, come up with something creative about Orlando, and center it. Call it Southside Crip Orlando or something like that. He didn't have to do that shock value and call it Tupac Must Die. And so I wish he wouldn't have did that. But shout out to Glass Malone. Cool brother once you get to meet him and talk to him.
Yeah.
But he's like my boy Wack 100. I think he's just trying to...
Yeah, I did a song with Glasses.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was probably like 10 years ago, though.
Okay. Cool dude.
Yeah, he's cool, real cool.
Yeah.
What'd you think about his interview on The Breakfast Club?
Yeah, that's where he got it wrong. I understand what he was saying about Snoop. I really do. But he went too far. And he should have stopped at a certain point of that interview. Because in 93, 95, Snoop was bigger than Pac. People will say, oh, Pac had movies, Pac had this. Snoop was bigger than Pac. Universally, musically, everything. Pac, 96, killed him. I mean, killed his career, made him irrelevant, really. Dogfather was whack. The Dogfather album really killed him. But what was the common denominator that Pac and Snoop had? And this is what most people are missing. It was the power of the machine that Suge Knight was connected to. And that was him. Not so much Interscope, because Pac was with Interscope, but because of the things that Suge was able to get from radio programmers, from Jimmy Iovine's staff and stuff like that. The love and the respect and the fear that they had for doing right or doing wrong for Death Row because of Suge Knight. And that's the common denominator that is missing. And that's why I believe Pac and Snoop was successful, was because of Dr. Dre and Suge Knight, not because of Snoop.
You'd mentioned, I think in the Bomb First lives, that you'd seen Mike Tyson at a lot of parties. Do you have any fun memories partying with Tyson?
Mike was a fool. Mike loved the party, loved the women. Mike, I remember we used to, in Vegas, we used to have, strip parties. This dude named L.A. Dre, rest in peace, L.A. Dre. He's like Too Short, main producer and stuff like that. But L.A. Dre used to have a hookup with bras in Houston, and Atlanta, Magic City. He must have like a pimp or something. I don't know what LHJ, but So he's, I guess, yeah, because Too Short always talking about pimping, right? So anyway, L.A. Dre flew a whole bunch of chicks in from Atlanta. Brought them, Suge paid for everything, but a whole bunch of chicks from Atlanta to Suge house in Vegas. So probably about 20 chicks, just around there, paid for already to do whatever, So the homies around, everybody just kicking it. Pac, he got mad at the airport with his boy, I think it was that Mike Nice dude or that Nice dude, some artist, where they didn't have their tickets and he wouldn't fly on the plane because he wanted to fly with his people. And I told him, I was like, we get him on the next flight. And Pac got mad, so Pac didn't come. But so we got all of these bitches and stuff at the house and stuff. Pac lived like 3 or 4 houses down in Vegas from, I think Molly Marv said he got the house now where Mike Tyson used to live. And so he comes over there and he was like, I got $5,000. Whatever chicks want to come and hang with me. And now, you talking about us who broke niggas, ain't got money like this. And now we hot, because, all the bitches jumping off our laps, jumping and running over there with Mike. And I remember the homies was like, we're going to whoop Mike's ass. Don't bring him over here no more. Mike going to get his ass rushed. I remember Butchie was like, we whooping Mike Tyson ass. If he come over here again, one of us can't whoop him, but 3 or 4 of us, we're going to whoop his ass. I remember that. That was so funny. Niggas was mad because, all those bitches was trying to go with him. And we was like nothing niggas now. And the ones that had to stay back and stay with us, they were mad because they know the other bitches over there getting, they had already been paid. And they over there getting broke off some more. So that was a funny Mike Tyson.
I seen in Bomb First, one of your live chats that you talked about, you had your favorite story was about Don Zelly.
Okay. Yeah, Don Zelly was one of the homies from Hollywood, Pyro. Cool dude. Don Zelly, he got caught off in some bullshit where he was DJ Quick main bodyguard, and he hung with DJ Quick. And Don Zelly, back then in the 90s, you used to keep your music like gold. You didn't want it leaking out. Like now, artists purposely leak their music out to get on mixtapes or just to jump the street dates and all of that. But back then, you didn't want your music on the streets because you wanted everybody to go buy the cassette or the disc. And so DJ Quick was in charge of mixing down All Eyes on Me album because by then Dre had, went on by his way. And so Quick was the main head producer. Don Zelly was his security and, hanging with Quick daily. Don Zelly somehow got a hold of All Eyes on Me album before it was released on the streets. He was doing what they all did. Don Zelly ain't no different than all the homies, trying to make some extra money and did some scandalous shit. He took the cassettes and took them up to this popular car wash stereo shop, weed spot in Compton called Untouchable Sounds, where this dude named Melvin owned the location. And Trayvon and either Buntry or Neckbone, but I know Trayvon Lane was the main one. They went up there because, like I said, it was the weed spot as well in Compton. It's on Alondra and near Atlantic Avenue. And they heard the music being played up there. So of course they was like, "Hey, how y'all get that? Where y'all get that from?" And they was like, "Well, Don Zelly brought it up here." And so Suge was like, that's one thing about the homies Pyro thing. You just couldn't rat pack or jump nobody because then you have an all-out war, So he called Don Zelly in. And Don Zelly had a good size on him, he was, cool, like I said, cool dude from Hollywood. And he called Don Zelly in and he goes, Don Zelly, man, you out of pocket for doing that, you're going to have to take a fade with one of the homies. And I think it was like Neck, Bone, who nobody want to fuck with. Neckbone is a monster. Buntry, another monster. Trayvon and Rock, Chisholm, and a couple of other ones was in the office, and he said, "You're gonna have to pick one of the homies to take a fade with on that." And he was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And so the obvious choice probably would have been Trayvon, because he's a little smaller. He wanted the smaller homies, and Rock. Rock was just like, shit, I'll take that fade. Boom, bombed on him. And then they just started fighting. So that was just one of the incidents that happened in Suge office. I guess y'all call it the Red Room. And the reason why I guess that when I'm talking about the Red Room, I always thought everybody was talking about this little room that everybody went down really to get their freak on, or have some quiet time, go to sleep, stuff like that. But I guess y'all was talking about Suge office because it had the red carpet and the big white death row man in the chair, the symbol in the middle of the carpet.
And that was it? Everything was cool after that?
Donzelli got fired. He either got fired or just quit, or Suge probably told Quake, he don't need to be around no more.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't remember seeing Donzelli after that. I mean, at death row.
Right, right.
Compton. He's still, Donzelli's still out there.
Oh, okay.
Shout out Donzelli.
Can you tell me about the Rolls Royce story? I guess it's when Suge's Rolls Royce got shot up.
Yeah, Keefy D
brought it up.
Keefy
in
D tried to say the
interview.
Rolls Royce got shot up. Rolls Royce didn't get shot up. That ain't an accurate statement. What happened was, we were standing outside that night.
Where were you guys hanging out? Where'd you guys run into Keefy D first?
I don't know. Keefy D tried to say we flagged him down and told him to come to us at the House of Blues or some shit like that. I don't remember that. I don't remember ever hanging out with Keefy D or anything. But Keefy D has stories that and I can't remember because I didn't really know him or some of the people that was around like that. So I'm not gonna sit up here and try to say he lying or that's not true. But I know the story that he's talking about when he say Reggie started shooting. I'm about to tell it. And what happened was, we was outside this club called Paradise. It was across the street. Anybody know Club Paradise? It was a gas station right across the street from the club. We were standing at the gas station in a group of about 6 or 7 people, and these are some of the craziest dudes I ever known. These 2 dudes just walk right in, and usually when you got 6 or 7 dudes standing around in a circle, what you do? Walk around it. These 2 motherfuckers walk right through us, through the crowd, and turn around, and they started shooting. Once they got a few things, so we looking at them, probably like, what's wrong with these crazy motherfuckers? Now I'm on them, like I'm stepping back. I'm figuring they about to do something, which they did. And those niggas took it, as they walked past the crowd, they turned around and shot. None of us got hit. Well, a dude named Diamond that hung around with this dude that Suge used to hang around named Big West got shot in the leg. But they take off and run. My ass take off chasing them, popping rounds at these motherfuckers as they running. Suge jumps in the Rolls Royce, because Suge jumped, and Buntry and Neckbone behind me. And they run somewhere and run in an alley. And the whole time I'm just firing at these niggas. Pow, pow, pow. And Buntry and Neckbone right behind me. Pow, they firing. Suge crazy ass in the Rolls Royce. I mean, this is a big old Rolls Royce. Come down there, driving crazy, come down the alley. Driving real crazy and shit. And he, because I guess by then he done got to his stash and all that. And he jumping out of the car with his guns and stuff. And so that's what happened. But the Suge car never got. But Suge, the way Suge was driving and all of that, you would have think it was something involving the Rolls Royce, which it wasn't. Suge just was driving real crazy to come and be back up to his boys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you was worried
Well,
about?
Yeah, I mean, we let off some rounds. We let off some rounds that night, and of course, we didn't go looking down the alley, the alley to see if these motherfuckers got hit or not. We just got the fuck up out of there.
Yeah.
But me, I was like, damn. But, wondering if anybody turned up. Man found dead in the alley on the news or something. Then, but never heard nothing, so.
You told a story where you guys had to go pick up Mary J in the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah.
Or
with
something
KC.
happened.
Yeah, Casey and JoJo and Mary was a couple. But they both were wilding out back then. They had a song they were touring. If you think you're lonely now. That's what Casey and then she had I'm Going Down, off that soundtrack, off the Waiting to Excel soundtrack. So they were promoting those two songs and they were touring. So they used to come out to California all the time and hang with us and, be out here. They used to perform at the Grand Slam at Prince Old Club down in L.A. And they were down there and they must have got into a fight, because, when you're doing drugs and alcohol, good things usually don't happen. They got into a fight, got into it. Somehow she called Pop, because her and Pac was on the down low cool. And Pac, we had to run over to the Peninsula Hotel. And I remember, I always say she was jumping out of a window, but now I don't think she was jumping out of the window as I think about it. She was just running down the side. The Peninsula is on and has a little street on the side. And she was running down the side street and jumped in the car right quick and jumped in the car and Pac picked her up and took her off. But her and Casey had just had some domestic violence shit going on.
Suge shows up to the movie set of Straight Outta Compton. What was he going there for?
Anything that I speak on that is secondhand because I wasn't around Suge at the time. But I've known that he was getting phone calls from Kenya and Sharita. Kenya was working on the set of Straight Outta Compton.
Who's Kenya?
Dad's ex-wife or baby mama.
Okay.
She's been doing some great interviews on the Art the Dialogue station. And she's like a stylist in the business. And she was telling them, hey man, to Sharita, who's Suge's ex-wife, they sure portraying Suge a lot in this movie. Suge got a big part in this NWA movie. So I'm sure Sharita called Suge and was like, hey, they playing you a lot, egging him on or whatever. And he went down there to confront him about it. Because then, he had lost Death Row. And Suge trying to get money however he can. And he went up there and talked to Cube. And Cube was like, dawg, I got you. We're going to look out. We're going to look out. So Suge was leaving. But now Bone, who was hired to mainly keep Suge away, who wasn't around, left or whatever for whatever reason, he's like, dude came up here? He did what? Oh, get dude up here. Or call him. And that's when he reached out to Terry and they met up. And he felt, in my mind, I think he felt like disrespected, like, you about to cause me to lose my job, because I'm supposed to be protecting them and all of that. So I got to do this to keep my reputation, as an enforcer on these movies and production sets. Because he got them on lock. I mean, pretty much you don't do no gang scenes or in L.A. without having Bone go and holler at that particular area, being Mexicans or the black gangs. And he can go and work out a deal with them to make sure it's cool for that production company, because you know what it costs you just to bring out your little production. So could you imagine a movie production, what it costs, and to go there and you got all gang members up there tripping and stuff? So now they pay these guys to go out and scout it and advance it to make sure that, it's going to be all good. And that's what Bone does in the industry. And does a good job at it. Hats off to him.
Suge gets the call from Terry, and he goes over there?
He goes over there because he's cool with Terry.
Him and Terry were good friends,
good
right?
Friends. He's cool with Terry. Who would ever thought Bone would have walked up and started swinging on Suge like he did?
Did they have any issues or anything? prior to that?
Before then, we had some run-ins with him and all of that. But, you know, he's a Pyru and a blood dude and not fear of Suge. And Suge the same way.
Yeah.
They never really had no reason to go at each other like that. But, you know, in Bone mind is, nigga, you messing up my money. It's my business. How I pay my, you know, my bills. You made me look bad. Kind of made him look like he left knowing Suge was coming so he could push up on Ice Cube and them. You know how people think when you ain't there and this shit all of a sudden go down.
Right.
Wait a minute, nigga, I hired you to do this, but you wasn't there.
Oh,
I get the bag for not being with Pac, or even though my job ain't to be with Pac or to be in security, you wasn't there. You was at the Club 662. And then that's when some shit go down, but you never there. Now it'll make you look.
Man. And then so Bone just takes off on him.
You walk up, we see it in the video.
Yeah.
You would never believe it if you didn't have the video footage. Thank God for the video footage, because I would have never believed somebody just walked up to this car and just starts socking on Suge Knight like that.
And then he backs up, kind of runs him over, and then goes again. And
That's an unfortunate situation, man.
yeah, you know.
Unfortunate for Suge and his family, but more so for Terry Carter and his family.
Yeah, man. I thought he would have a good self-defense, because it was like it seemed like you could make a reasonable argument that you were scared for your life.
Correct.
You know.
But twice, see, that's the problem where he went forward twice. If it would only happen that one time, no case would ever have been filed.
Right.
It's that second action that made the case get filed. And him being who he was.
Yeah, it seemed like, you know, they wanted him to.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I'm sure they've been wanting Suge for a long time.
I mean, and they done gave him passes. He could have got struck out when he beat up that dude in the marijuana dispensary. There's an incident at the car wash where he did the same thing. There's a couple other incidents that he done did where he could have been violated. I mean, might was about to get him on that deal, but they gave him bail on that, on the camera incident. You know, from taking it from the paparazzi.
What happened with that situation?
Well, they merged them all together. That's why he ended up taking that deal, because he had 3 separate cases.
Cat Williams, right?
Huh?
He had a situation with Cat Williams?
That was the lady
dispensary?
that was the lady with the camera.
Okay.
The paparazzi lady. Then he had the incident with the director dude, Gary Davis, where he was supposed to have been threatening him, where they had him on tape threatening him. And then he had the incident with Terry Carter and Bone. And so he had and they could have tried him twice on each of those 3 cases, and he would have had to win 6 times. He had to win.
And he was with a public defender too at this point, right? Because they got him with witness tampering. They were accusing him of.
Well, his previous 2 attorneys that got rid, but they weren't no good. They were never going to be the ones to try the case anyway. They just run and Suge like to play attorney, so he gets people that he can control to go do this, and they'd be like, okay, Suge. Still the type that be like, no, Suge, this ain't how law work, and that's why he lost so many attorneys, because Suge be trying to, this is going to be like this, it's going to be like, and they be like, no, it's not going to be like this if I'm your attorney. These are people with professions, that have history, that ain't not going to jeopardize their name or their profession for his bullshit.
Around what year do you think he'll be coming home?
2033, 2034.
That's soon.
30, not 20.
Right. Well, 13 years, he got 28. That's only 13, 14 years from now.
Yeah, he'll be 70, make him, he's 54 now, so 16 years.
Oh, okay. 16.
About 16 years. The websites say 2037 or 2034.
But I think you mentioned he gets like double time.
Yeah,
when he was in
so he
county.
only have 16 years to do from the time when he convicted sometime in 2018 So
Have you talked to him since he's been locked up?
One time since he's.
How's he holding up?
I talked to Rick, the guy that kind of in charge of doing all of his stuff daily. Matter of fact, an hour or two before we did this interview. And so Suge was back to himself over the phone, but he's back on the phones and stuff. So he's back to himself.
Okay, all right.
Got his health right, which is the main thing.
Oh yeah, because from the gunshot wounds, he was having a lot
The blood
of
clots
from that.
and all of that, and he got a bad case of diabetes, which messed with his vision and all that type of stuff.
So he's got all that figured out?
Yeah. So you see pictures of him now, and you can see that he's looking strong and looking back to himself, not looking like an old beat up man like he was for a minute.
In an interview, you had said that people had offered you money to give up Suge. Did that only happen the one time?
Yeah, it was only happened one time. What happened was there was something going on where the guys felt that Buntree and myself and Suge had something to do with their friend getting killed. And then they decided for whatever reason to come to me and said, hey, you know this dude's get down. And he's trying to have something done to you now. Talking about Suge trying to have something done to me now. So we'll give you some money. We know you know where that nigga live. We want to know where that nigga house is, where he at, so we can go get his ass. I was like, nigga, that's still, even though I'm mad at him right now, he's still the homie. Oh, nigga, I ain't about that. Don't come at me like that. And then I went and told Suge what was going on, and he took the proper measures, I'm sure.
Did Eazy-E ever sue Death Row?
Yeah, it was a lawsuit. It got dropped when he died because he was the main plaintiff, but it was a federal lawsuit that was filed.
And that was over Dr. Dre?
Yeah, the
Michelle
whole
A?
the alleged assault and racketeering and all type of charges that were made in federal court. Yeah.
Against Death Row and Suge?
And Suge, yeah.
So everything got dropped when he passed away?
Yeah, he got dropped the next day.
Was he just suing for money?
Yeah, and probably for the contracts to be reverted back, or any money that Dre made would come to him. Yeah.
And the diss song, he says, I'm still getting a piece of it, a piece of the money.
Show us where he ever got a check from Death Row. Show us, tell us.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, this is what most people don't know, and maybe Priority worked some deal out with Eazy. Dre's stuff has always been distributed by Priority Records, still today. You look at Chronic 2001, even though Interscope deal, and he was signed to Interscope, was with Universal or MCA, it was always distributed by Priority.
Even when he was on Death Row?
Yeah.
Eazy dealt with Priority.
Yeah,
Ruthless.
with Brian Turner. Well, his deal was with Sony, Columbia, with Ruthless. However, NWA was Brian Turner, which is the owner of Priority Records.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then there's still something. Then there's still something.
Like I said, if Priority made a deal and was giving him some money, who knows?
Right.
But he wasn't getting it from Death Row.
Is Suge suing Dr. Dre?
I don't know if it's still active or not, but I heard he did. Suge had some type of deal with him where he was supposed to, he was his manager as well. And Suge trying to say it was a lifetime contract. Who knows?
No one knows.
Yeah.
It hasn't went any further.
Yeah, but when Dre walked away, I'm sure the judge gonna be like, wait a minute, you mean tell me this man left you a multi-million-dollar company for not one red cent, signed over his shares to you, and now you want to sue him for when he went and created something else on his own? I'm sure the judge ain't gonna go for that.
That's a good defense.
Yeah.
So whenever our last interview, I would just see random hate comments, man. Why? And I couldn't figure out. Like I feel like somebody said some dirt about you in the past or something that has made people hate you. Like, where's all this come from?
You never watch any of the DVDs done by R.J. Bonds and Frank Alexander and Michael Carlin and all of them? There's this group, mainly guys that are white from the UK that pushes these agendas of these guys, Michael Carlin and R.J. Bonds. And they like their groupies, their fan clubs. They like their beehives. You know, like Beyonce,
Right.
beehive, where this one particular guy I know have at least 20 to 25 different accounts. And he goes and he starts talking to himself and start typing stuff, and then he'll respond to himself under another username. And he has all these different usernames and Google accounts or whatever, and it's like he's almost like psycho. It's almost like a obsession, and that's where a lot of it come from. But it was a lot of it because I was so quiet for a long time, and I get a lot of people say, "Man, I'm sorry, Reggie. I apologize to you because I used to feel this way about you, not knowing you. I'm glad you decided to start speaking and talking because now I get it. I understand." And
Yeah, I think that was a thing. A lot of people had a really
the
bad
boogeyman.
lookout
Yeah.
about you and well, not just you, but the security, death row security as in general.
well, and that's another myth right there because the security that they talking about are cops that they believe that worked for me that never did. You know, the David Perez, the David Mack, Ralphio Perez, and Kevin Gaines. These are guys I never met before in my life. I don't know who they are, but they believe it because these people have pushed this agenda. I done had Randall Sullivan write to the U.S. attorney on complaining because these guys was making so much money in the past because they were pushing this agenda. Now I'm out here talking, they done lost 80% of their fan base. And so those people are not supporting them anymore. They're not buying their books, they're not buying their DVDs anymore because they was like, oh no, whatever y'all talking about is inaccurate. That's not the truth. And now, so these people are like, this nigga need to go to jail. This nigga need to go away. We don't want him talking. They say they used to say they want me talking. They would love to interview me. But once now that I'm an open book, we don't want this no more. He's killing it. He's bad for business. People are now seeing the real. So now you have, Keefy D coming out with his version that's pretty much echoing what I've been saying. And now these people like, they hate it.
So you got a big day coming.
Yeah, so y'all getting this interview now, and y'all know I'm in custody, in prison somewhere. Please write me, and send me letters, and I'm sure you'll post it in the comment section where I'm at, and I'd love to hear from you. Ship a nigga some money and some pictures to you females, something to put me to sleep, and ship me some money so I can buy something from, pay for some phone calls to keep in contact with y'all.
Want to talk about the channel that you assist on all the time? Your Bomb First? Well, not your channel, but
Yeah, just make sure y'all come out and support. We do live streams on every Tuesday, generally 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Times. Bomb First with me and John Hyland. And then every Thursday morning, wake up and listen to the Gangster Chronicles podcast with Alex Alonso from the Street TV YouTube channel, and my boy, my friend, my brother, the great and one and only James McDonald, a.k.a. Mob James, where we give us our opinion on the latest news and and things that's going on in the industry. Gangster Chronicles.
Is Gangster Chronicles, are you talking about more old school stuff or are you talking about more current events?
We go all over the table.
All
we
over?
Do current events, and we do a little bit of death row histories and incidents that happen. We have an Instagram page where we take a lot of the questions, and we don't have any guests. We take a lot of questions from the Instagram from the fans, and we try to address them all.
Well, okay. What are some topics you guys have talked about recently? What was the most recent one about?
The most recent one was mainly about James tripping Australia, and I don't know, because it's gonna be 5 weeks from down. I don't even want to say that because your shit be 4-5 weeks.
Right. Okay.
Hopefully we done did about 4 episodes by the time this air.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. Well, I think that's it, man.
All right, appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
Let me go try to get this grill going so I can put the shrimp